Hey guys, I'm Andy with WebGardener.com, and I just wanted to give a brief overview of the new tutorial series that I'm beginning. We'll just call it The Power of Scripting in C Sharp. Basically, the reasons I started doing this was because a lot of tutorials I find are very focused on a specific feature or function, which is not a bad thing. However, it doesn't make it as flexible for some people that are especially new to programming or new to game development to be able to take pieces of that and use it elsewhere. In addition to that, I do find there is some misinformation about scripting, classes, variables, functions, etc. That I think personally, I just find it's useful to know the correct information. And then also, I wanted to kind of help clarify Unity's engine itself, how things work, why we want to use certain functions or features versus, other methods and so forth. So my goal really is just to provide tutorials that enable others to build more powerful scripts in Unity, which is just going to improve their game development or other applications and make those things better. So what am I going to cover? Well, I'm going to cover game objects and C# classes, what's the same, what's different about them, how to incorporate the two together. I'm going to talk about namespaces, organizing code, keeping things clean. We'll talk about the base class monobehavior, when to use it, when not to use it, what it's for, what methods and variables are exposed. We'll talk about different kinds of variables and how to utilize them appropriately. We'll also talk about serialization and really getting more out of your code without utilizing poor programming practices like making all your variables public simply to allow the inspector to view it when serialization is a better method. Referencing classes and game objects, how to talk to things, communication in your program. We'll talk about the execution order of event functions, which include all of these. The ones I'm really going to focus on: awake, start, fixed update, update, late update. We'll certainly talk about the other ones and go over when to use them and what they're for. But I really want to make sure people are clear on how to utilize these so that they are effective. We'll talk about how to create functions and methods, as well as how to define them, sending parameters, retrieving parameters, and so forth. We'll go over if then else statements and for and while loops. We'll talk about case select statements or switch cases in the C# language. We'll discuss coroutines and how to utilize them, what you can do with them, and we'll also kind of compare them against doing threads or multi-threading. We'll talk about some of the more basic data structures: arrays, lists, stacks, dictionaries. Show a little bit of comparison in performance, as well as how to utilize them and when you might use one over the other. Things like inventory systems or weapons, or whatever you might utilize for games, as well as other kinds of applications. We'll go over interfaces. We will go over events and delegates. So again, that whole communication of objects and scripts. And then, of course, I will be more than happy to take requests for things that you'd like to see. I don't mind doing very feature-specific tutorials. I just want to make sure that I also cover everything else. And of course, I'll add more as I think of them. So I don't want you to become overwhelmed by this list. These, while they may sound complicated and overwhelming initially, it's really not the case. I want to make this available for everyone. Whether you are a beginner and you've never touched the C# scripting language or programming language before, or if you're a professional like myself and you just aren't familiar with certain features like proper implementation of events and delegates, or whatever the case. So I really hope you guys will go ahead and subscribe so you can get notifications when I'm posting all these tutorials. And hit the like button for me if you can. I certainly appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.